One, two, three.
Welcome to the world of fighting games, conversation, freestyle talk to people across the nation. We speak harder, then I show you under the jaw. So sneakier, then an empty jump low. We sound crazier, then I for it's hot for condo. Ladies and gents, welcome to the Late Fight Show.
Welcome! Ciao Alio, it's your boy Axen. This is Axen, your host, and this is finally, we got back. Bert won. I'm not alone this time around. Yes, yeah, it was just 1 week, but I felt so alone doing it.
Yeah, I understand it.
Don't you worry. We always have.
I got you. I get
something to thanks. We always have something to talk about, even though we may be 1, 2, or 3 people sometimes. It's all right. We got something to talk. It is very, very true, because we're having so many news about fighting games recently. So the new era of fighting games is pretty much coming, and I've talked about it in the last episode. We talked about every game is coming up in the next few years, and like the future looks to be very, very bright. But there are some things that we need to discuss about the future that are not like strictly related to the games themselves, but like more of the FGC life, right? But first we want to talk a little bit our usual icebreaker topic. So what are we playing, Bert? Tell me what you're playing.
I'll start things off. I'll say that I'm not playing so much because I'm studying for a test that I have coming, so not that much time to spend playing. But the time I have, the time I use it, I take. Let's say it. I use it to play. I completely shut off fighting games for a bit, and now I'm playing just Age of Empires 4. I actually went back after a couple of years, something like that, to gold rank. So I'm back to gold, which is not a lot, but
it is more than I can say.
Platinum if I played a bit more, but. Yeah, the point is you get to stay. I mean, maybe after the test I'll try to make a run to diamond, but it's going to take a while, because after you reach a certain level you really need to study game more. You can't just do better things and use the build orders and stuff like that.
You basically hit the like the lab barrier in fighting games, basically.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah. You that's not entirely true, because it's weird, but even in bronze, the level between bronze and like gold, the skill gap is not that high, because usually I don't know how to say it, but there's fewer people playing ranked in Age of Empires, a lot less. Most people usually play it with friends on lobbies, or like do fast matches.
Yeah, quick plays. Yeah,
we don't play ranked because it's I mean, it's long matches usually. Even if you are not very experienced. You may not understand when you are completely losing or stuff like that. So sometimes you just waste 40 minutes losing a set. But if you're playing fast match casuals, you can just I think I lost here. I just give up. If you're playing ranked and you're not sure, giving up is not a cool thing you want to do, because you're losing points and whatever. So
it is a kind of game that like is very it's a big commitment to go on and go in ranked and stuff. It's not like a very casual game.
Even if you're winning, sometimes the opponent doesn't recognize the win. Even more so, it happens that the one who's losing doesn't want to lose badly or like giving up. It wants
So,
you
so the
to
games go
really
longer.
annihilate you. So they don't give up, and you start like at least in Age of Empires 4. If you want to win by completely annihilation, you just have to destroy the. It's called I don't know in English, but historical centers of,
Okay.
your opponent.
Like the main base.
Yeah, the main bases you built, but in the Age of Empires 2, you had to like kill every single
Yeah, that's crazy.
thing that you did. So if you had like a rogue, like
Like a unit going on.
going around the map, you'd need to develop the spice, which cost a lot of money, just to find that fucking horse and to go kill that fucking horse. And
So
that was frustrating. At least
yeah, that's
this was
crazy.
Magnum,
You would
but,
have
still,
you would have to hope that the opponent would just give up at a certain time.
but
Yes.
most people I actually do. If I see I'm doomed and I can't win the match, I just give up. It's
just better to go on and open
waste
another
my
game.
time.
Yes,
It's not
yes.
also. It's not. I'm not only wasting my opponent time,
Also
but
mine.
I'm also wasting my time because I can't win and that match is over.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but apart from that, I think the game is very cool right now. It's a shame that the community didn't give the game too much time to develop, because they just saw two less civilizations, and they didn't like what they did with Thieves, because Empires 2 right now has been remade
Yeah.
several times, and that's the game the community plays more.
Mhm.
But the thing is, every civilization is quirk, but they're not so much of a quirk. You just need to build different stuff in different orders. You just have difference in build orders. I don't know if you ever played like a strategy game.
I mostly know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. So for everybody that doesn't know, build orders are like literally the way you build your base, and you go on with like the
Yeah,
tasks.
it's basically different priorities of your
Yes,
constructions. Yes.
exactly. You just need to do that, and they're very different. And obviously, like some thieves don't have horses like Maya or
Yeah.
stuff from South America.
There are some differences, but not enough that people are giving them
that's
credit.
not too much
for.
of difference. But in Age of Empires 4, the difference are quite a lot. There's civs that have like special mechanics, kind of like in a fight game. There's a civ that has like a point buy system that you can spend on like having more ships.
Okay, so they have their own like peculiarities.
They do have similarities, but between bigger gaps between the civs.
Okay.
And there's civs that are easy to play and civs that are way harder to play. Like the easiest civs is English, and the hardest is Chinese.
Okay.
But apart from that, I don't want to bore you with these nuances.
So you're playing. You are playing something competitive anyway, even though it's not fun. Yes.
I can't like. I like single player games, but I don't have the time to like. I like, but I like them so much. But I like to do like long sessions,
which are difficult to come by.
I had to play Resident Evil 4 remake,
yes,
which
I want to do it too.
And it was fucking sick. And Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite games of all time. I destroyed my GameCube on it, but I'd love to play it. But right now I don't want to play it like in this way, because I want to do long sessions. Like I want to play at least for like 2 hours.
I get that. Some of the more like long and maybe cinematics single player experiences like need you to be at least like a couple of hours there focused in playing, because if you play like half an hour you basically do nothing. It's
not about doing nothing. You're not feeling the game. I mean, I think
You have to give yourself time
Yeah.
to get into the mood, to get into the
mood.
to get into the atmosphere of the game. Yes, I get you. It's the same for me.
What about you?
I'm playing 2 games right now. One single player and one fighting game. So I'm playing Wolong, Fallen Dynasty.
Okay, I've heard it, but
So the PC port is kind of trash, and if you play with unlocked frame rate, the game goes in slow mo. It's not dropping frames; it goes in slow mo. You like
yeah,
I got
like fighting games like Street Fighter 5. I don't know if you ever experienced it, but if you play with a low-end computer,
yes, fighting
the
games
game-
get slow mo. Yeah, if you
it-
if you get slow frame rate.
it forces you. It's basically the game understand that it can't run at 60 FPS. Like the game can run at like 50 or even less. It forces you to 30.
Yeah,
And,
that's
the
why
game is
they have to.
going, like it's weird. It's 30 FPS, but it's half the speed.
Yes, because the logic of the game is like linked to the frame rate. But usually what happens with regular games is that you get just faster frame rates, right, or slower frame rates. But the time in the game it's the same. But Wolong basically has this weird thing that I get like 110 frame per second, and the game goes to slow motion. Instead, if I lock it to 60. It goes regular speed.
That's weird.
No, it's just a bug. It's a big bug, right? But I'm playing it at 60 locked because I cannot do anything else. But when I put it on 60 locked,
players are playing it at
works.
30, so it's fine. I
Yeah,
guess.
it kind of works. And I have to say, compared to like Souls games, and From Software games, is very, very different because it doesn't have the same. So the attention is all the way shifted to the combat and not at all shifted to the level design. Right? Level design is super basic. Apart from some things they're trying to do to like make it look more like a From Software game. Sometimes you get like access to a door that puts you back at the beginning, like a shortcut that puts you back at the beginning of the stage or something like that. But apart from that, it's very, very linear design. And there is more vertical than usual Team Ninja games, because usual Team Ninja games are not only linear but also very flat.
Yeah.
But Wolong at least has a big verticality aspect to it, because you have like also dropping attack. You can do sneak attacks from above, like from a rooftop. You can jump out and take out enemies
more
like
mobility than usual. Ninja games.
And you can also like play stealthier than usual. But in a matter of fact, there's like also some builds that like focus on stealth. But the combat is very snappy. The reaction are very important. It's kind of Sekiro-like in the fact that you have to be very on point with the parries, because it's very much parry based. So you have to get the rhythm of the enemies, especially bosses. And there are some big telegraphed attacks that glow red, that when you parry those, you get a big opening, and you do a lot of what's called spirit damage, which is basically the poise damage in Souls game. So when they lose all their spirit, they go into open, like they're open for a critical attack basically. And sometimes you can only do that to bosses, because regular damage is so low that you only need to like parry these big red attacks and then go for a critical strike. And the thing is, they are big and telegraphed, but the timing is so varied between bosses, because you can read the movement, you know it's coming, but sometimes the animation are really like fast. Sometimes they take a long time. There's a reel up, and then there's a fast snap at the end, so you have to be on point. Like the fact is, when you die, it's just because you don't know the enemy, and then when you get to know the patterns and stuff, you can easily beat it. But there are some builds that are interesting. I'm working with some like Venom build and stuff like that. It's cool. It's fun. It's anything like an Elden Ring for me, because I like more of the storytelling in the environment and stuff. But the combat is very, very fast and very precise. So I like the combat, and I'm having fun. And as fighting games go, I went back to Tekken 7 just because, and I say that because Street Fighter 5 is not. I don't know. I tried to play a little bit because I got hype with Redline Clash, and I tried to go back to it, but I cannot for the life of me find a character right now that gives me something. So I don't say I quit it. And I say, so there's a game in which I'm not good, and that's Tekken, right? So I wanted to get better at Tekken, maybe also to prepare for 8, even though 8 looks to be so much different that I don't know if this is gonna help me. But I think
it is.
Some things, yes. I'm improving on my movement. So my focus right now is improving on my movement and with punishing. So
movement. It seems. I mean, they can still change the game, but it seems like in Tekken 8 movement is pretty much the same as Tekken 7.
Yeah, they said that
maybe
it's
some aspects like, I don't know, earthbox on backdashes or stuff like that, but the general feeling of the game seems like completely identical.
Yeah, they said, the people that had the fortune to try it said that the movement pretty much fits the same. So in that aspect, I think what I'm doing right now is working, and I'm focusing on movement, stepping, backdashing, and also with punishing. So. And I'm playing Lars because the trailer for Lars Tekken 8 is so cool, and it was one of my mains anyway. But I went back to him because I really liked his trailer for Tekken 8, and I'm doing good. I'm almost in the blue ranks, almost.
Which is.
I don't know
on my phone because
I don't know how to say that, but I don't know how much far into the ladder it is. It feels super far for me because I didn't.
Yeah, the rank system in Tekken is weird. It feels like there's a lot of clients. Like blue, you're like eternal ruler, something like that.
Yes, I'm one step below the Fujin.
I think I've reached mighty ruler playing like only Death Fist ball.
That's great. Of course.
So
that's perfectly understandable.
My main setup was like back that way because he has a back sway. Back sway, and that was like one
and Phoenix Smasher, aka Death Fist.
I did back sway, and then or Demoman or Death Fist. That's what me. I just go back and do that. I mean, if you block, I lose. If you don't, I just get like a running. I don't know what to say. Running 4, I think, and just have another Oki. So it's weird, but it worked until those levels.
Yeah, the enjoyment that I'm getting from it is actually make the opponent whiff and punishes.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting from it right now, and since I'm like getting a hang of it, I am having fun right now. The thing is, I have fun in fighting games when I'm improving, right?
Yeah.
When I'm visibly improving. So I wasn't making any progress in Street Fighter. So since I was at a lower level in Tekken, I'm feeling that I'm getting better and I'm having fun for that.
The problem with fighting games, and I've seen so many people lately tweet about it, but the part when you like learn new stuff, it's always the best. But the end game, it's so hard to learn. You really need to like check your matches and check.
Yeah, you have to
stuff.
study a lot.
Like weird,
Like small details.
Small details, yes.
Yeah, the thing
And
is,
that's the hard part. I mean,
the best moment I had in Street Fighter was when something new clicked in my head.
yeah,
And I had a big win streak from where I was sitting in the ranks, just because I had one aspect of my gameplay that clicked. So I understood something.
that's an improvement.
Yeah, and then I was back at square one because I got to the next rank and I was stuck again. But you know, that's what happens if you don't lab and you don't study, which is me. So so there we go. Let's keep an eye on the clock and go to the next topic, which is the first main one of the night.
Yeah,
We want to talk about bye.
Because
Bye.
I'm sorry, but I fucking suck.
Don't worry. So what we want to talk about to you tonight, guys, is a little bit about the future of local events, and I wanna try to explain in what sense I mean this. Basically, we've seen something change in the last recent years, not only because of COVID, but only because it was kind of a revolution in fighting games development, which is like, I want to call it the rollback revolution, right? That it's not rollback in and of itself, but I want to say it's the good netcode revolution for fighting games, right? So there was, and it was pretty much like pushed by the fact that we couldn't get out to events, right, for COVID. So the online play became more and more important by the day, and not only for us, but also for the companies that make these games, right? Because they have to sell the game, they have to get people playing the game, like, right, generate interest, keep people focused on the game so they can spend more money on them, right? And what we need to discuss is what will happen with the future of fighting games, right? With the next generation of fighting games. We are at the beginning of the next generation of fighting games. The first one that we're gonna get is Street Fighter 6 in a couple of months. Then we're gonna get probably Tekken 8, or maybe even Mortal Kombat 12 before that, probably. And then there will be Project L, and who knows what else it's cooking right now, right? So we want to discuss what will happen to the local scenes. There were some local scenes of course, not so much here in Italy, but in the US, for example, there are many local scenes that have very frequent events, like weekly events or even monthly events, right? There are some famous ones like the NLBC and the Wednesday Night Fights and stuff like that had to shift to an online format during COVID, which is of course understandable. But what we're seeing, right, even after COVID is gone, pretty much gone, I would say, that people keep doing online events, right? And that's because it's, of course, it is easier probably to run. You don't have to get a place. You don't have to bring your equipment. It's easier, right? Much easier. It's convenient, and you can organize events that can make people play from different places. And what many of these local scenes did during COVID was doing it online, even though the games weren't allowing it to do it, in a like frictionless way, because we had so many games that still had bad netcodes, right? Starting from Street Fighter 5, but also I've seen many local events, many online events for weeklies for games like GBVS and so on, with games that had really bad netcodes. So, but people wanted to play, and people wanted to have their locals, their weekly tournaments and stuff. But something has changed in development. I was saying, Bert, that there has been a shift to nice netcode for games because of that, and since now it's more comfortable and more convenient for tournament organizers to do weekly and monthly events online. Our question is this a trend that will keep going with the new generation of fighting games because they are gonna be even better at online play, even though we can now gather with the communities and do stuff offline? So that's my question. I want to know what you think about it, how the future will shape for the next generation of fighting games.
It's really hard to tell. But one thing is for sure, for me, I'm pretty sure about this. New players, like, I'm not saying like people from the community who used to play like Tekken or Guilty Gear that comes to Street Fighter. I mean, really new player to the FCGs are not going to search for locals. I mean, they're just playing online. They're going to play online, and they just won't understand why you should go to an offline event. I mean, especially to like weeklies. I can understand like tournaments. No, I don't think that's gonna change too much. I think tournaments will always have a place, especially like big ones, but also like the smaller ones. Like even if there's a community that has a monthly event or something like that, I think those are going to still be around. But it's gonna be harder to create a local scene because most people just won't come. I mean, they won't say, "Why should I play offline?" Which the game is pretty much the same. Especially if I play like with the people in my area. If I play like Italy to Italy, why should I? Yeah, it's basically perfect. So why should I?
I want to say something about that because we probably, as a fighting game for community, we probably lost like the stigma of if you play online, you're not legit, right? Because online doesn't count. The usual argument right there. I think it's probably talking about like the mainstream fighting game community. Probably since Guilty Gear Strife onwards, like online play has been like conceived as legit.
Right now, even in Street Fighter 5, which is shit in netcode,
the argument has fallen off. He had to fall off. It had to fall off just because of COVID, right? Because that's the way you had to be legit at that time.
Yeah, but and we actually seen that like better players were winning. It's not about. Yeah, sometimes you had like amazing performances from. I don't know if you can recall Metro M, which was which actually I don't think he won. Yeah, because there was this tournament in the West United States, West North America, where like Idon was already qualified because he was Capcom Cup champion. There wasn't any prize money in the tournament, but he still signed up and played the tournament and like gate kept a lot of players and then lost with this Metro M, which was a Vega player that really lagged a lot. Really lagged a lot. He didn't lose. He just threw out the match, and he went in loser. Then Metro M went to loser, and he threw out the match again. And everybody hated the Idon for that because why?
That's what you do. Up? You hate players.
And then Metro M, like, I don't know if he ended up winning the tournament or like coming second and third. But apart from these scenarios where like it happened once, I think, in the Capcom Pro Tour Online, it never happened again. So even in Street Fighter 5, which has shit in netcode, the stigma is
Yeah, it has been lifted. It has been
Everything.
lifted because you had to lift it at some point. And the thing is, I get what you say, that it's gonna be more difficult to create local scenes that gather frequently, at least, and like less frequent events, like for example our tournaments, like the red line fights and stuff like that, will have a place just because they would feel special. Like it's the one event that you go and it's gonna feel special because you're gonna have that one time that you can go and meet the community and meet new people and make yourself be known to other people and stuff like that. So and it is more about the social aspect of it, not so much about the competitive aspect. Of course, for players it is competitive, but I think that what those events mean for the community at large is more about like the community aspect, right? The social aspect. And I want to say that that's great and that it's important. But there's something that I miss. So not that we in Italy we ever had that, but I miss watching it. Is I was talking before about the NLBC, for example, right? The NLBC tournaments, the weeklies, in the Street Fighter 4 era were super great, were so fun. Because the thing is, you had it was kind of like watching a league in which you knew all the players, right? And you can have your favorite players every week, and you could root for them, and you would see also like the stories develop, and kind of like I don't know, there are some storylines that began in those tournaments that then went on in bigger tournaments. For example, some rivalries or some friendships, some people, some players that stood out in some of those weeklies and then went on and like won big tournaments, right? So there is that, and I feel that those kind of weekly events, local events, made player better. Many players like became good at the game in those tournaments, because and not good not only as far as technique goes and studying a game, because maybe that probably you can do better at home, right? You can study, you can have all your comfort stuff and talk to people like in a quiet environment and stuff, so you can focus very much. But what you learn in those tournaments is how to manage like tournament nerves and be very focused in a tournament setting, right? That's my feeling. And probably some big online player will have to go to a bunch of tournaments before getting those skills compared to when they were.
Like
Anywhere, yeah, I don't know.
Unless
There are some people that are just crazy, right? But I think that there were some skills that you can learn, especially in those kind of tournaments, right?
Yeah, but I'll tell you this. If I'm like a new player, I'll see locals. I'll say this. I've seen like if there's a tournament at locals, usually people going to that are either people who wants to improve and like it's actually spending time improving in the game because of a competitive drive, usually, or people who really likes the company, which are not that much. But those are the two people who wants to go to like a weekly.
Like, it's either for the friends or for the game, right?
But what I'm going to say is, what if you could actually become better at playing at home? I can actually.
I think that's the case.
Because if I can play like offline and maybe even have like online training, we should should have it. I mean, we still don't know, but it's gonna be weird if we don't get online training. I mean, I think we're gonna have it.
Yeah, hopefully.
But there's still Parsec where you can actually like training a situation and work quite well.
Yeah, there are ways to do it.
Yeah, there's other ways, but playing the game feels like naturally as offline, almost as offline.
Yeah. That's what was I saying. Yeah.
It's gonna be weird because there's no need for locals, but the no need for locals gets to the point because I've seen it with the Street Fighter Milano, no?
Yes.
Our, I mean, not mine anymore, but our local scene, and the people coming to the weeklies were people that wanted to improve. Mostly.
Yeah, for sure.
There were people coming for the friends, but most people was coming to improve, and that's what you get when you want to do a local. But not having the ability to like do a full stable locals.
Yeah,
it's going to harm even organizations, because if you don't have like a solid base of players that will come to your bigger events, I don't know, because what you say it's true. I think big tournaments are going to stay, but I'm not sure about like monthlies and even our tournaments. I hope, I think they're going to stay, but still, I don't know, if you're like mindlessly doing ranked, why should you like find a tournament? If you're not good enough, you're not going to the tournament if you don't have the idea of a local team.
Yeah, so the thing,
you don't have the feeling of
you're right,
of playing with other people around you. And why would you come if you are not like already a good player and can actually compete?
Yeah, the thing, having a local,
you're coming to win the tournament, and but still, if you are not good, I don't know.
So having a weekly local, for example, so a frequent local, for sure, like can teach the player to enjoy that kind of play, like the social play, which is both for improving and also like having the enjoyment of having your opponent right beside you. Like, right, it's a different thing, but you're right about this. As far as just improving, it's better to stay home probably, and also many people that don't feel very good at the game, like don't feel like they can actually compete, probably won't have like any reason to come even at the big tournament, because they don't used to go. So the thing is, they will ask themselves, what am I getting from going to the tournament if I'm not a top 8 player, right? What am I getting out of it? And that thing that they are gonna get out of it, it's what they learn to get at more frequent locals with with lower stakes. So I think that it's a bit of a shame that this kind of situation will be less and less frequent in the future. And also something else that I want to say about that is the entertainment factor of this. As I was saying, there are basically storylines that build in this kind of frequent tournaments, and we had so many crazy moments, like in some of the biggest weekly tournaments that we've seen in the US, right? Like NBC, for example, the infamous fresh maker moment between Rico Suave and Sam Forkelly, for example. Like you're not gonna have that with online tournament, and all of the entertainment, like weightlifting that has to be done for the weeklies online, has to be done from the part of the hosts, right, and the commentator. So that all the entertainment will come from for the entertainers, not from the players. And that's a bit of a shame, because it's, for me, if we want to root for a player specifically, it's harder for me to root for a player just based on how they play. I want to see how they behave. I want to see how they, if they are likable people or not, right? So, and I'm always gonna root for Smug at tournaments, not for his play, right?
Yeah, obviously.
For his personality, even though I was a big fan of his Dudley because it was a show off, right? But apart from this, the show off nature of his Dudley, it's a character of Smug that I will root for, and I think that without those frequent avenues, we're gonna get less and less players like becoming personalities and not just staying players. And the only way they could achieve that, that is what happened during COVID, is that people will become strong player, have to be strong or like medium strength player. I don't know how to say that. Not only the top players, but good players will need to become content creators to get their personality across.
Yeah, that's true. But my idea it wasn't about Street Fighter 6 too much. I was about more later future.
I think it's a broader discussion, because every new game is gonna be good online.
Yeah. But every new game is going to have that. But games that are coming out now, you'll have like, especially with Street Fighter 6 or Tekken 8, you'll have the same persons, the same people organizing.
Yeah, the big player will be the same.
And the same people, those people are going to like move more people into offline. Yeah, they're gonna explain why you should play offline and stuff like that. But as the times will go on, this will be a less of case, because there's gonna be less people, less and less, and maybe with Street Fighter 7, I don't know, the locals will be dead. I don't know.
I don't know. But I hope that's not the case. In some way, shape, or form, I think that locals should stay where they are. Not stay where they are, but at least exist. The problem is at the point, the problem is sustainability of these events. Because if you don't do it at the same frequency, at the same scale that were done before, they will be more difficult to sustain, right? Economically. Also, because you need to feed the tournament organizers to get the places, to get the avenues ready, to get the equipment and stuff. So if you do it like once in a blue moon, it's not going to be sustainable for people organizing that. For my personal perspective, I would probably stick to organize online events like the Red Line Clash, even in the future. But that's my prerogative. And it always been my prerogative, even when local and offline events were prevalent, because of my life, basically. I don't have much choice. I don't have a different choice, because the thing that online tournaments will be more easily doable in the future. It's great for me, but as an FGC fan, a fan of things that go around the FGC and the stories and people and characters and build up and hype and stuff, I'm kind of sad that if that is gonna be slowed down by the advance in technology, right? So I'm hopeful that somebody on planet Earth will continue to do weeklies offline, but that's something that we need to wait and see. Basically,
I mean, we already know in Italy, we can talk about it, and you already know that a couple of cities they are already doing it. Yeah. For newer games, and the local scene for Tekken is so strong. I mean, there's tournaments all around the nation, so it's going to be hard. Even if they just have a new netcode, people who are used to play offline won't like give up on offline because they have a better netcode.
They have that grassroots culture like installed in them, and they wanna keep doing that. It's probably it's when the next generation of player will come around that the shift will happen real hard when people that like began playing online and got good online and got to Capcom Cup by playing online. that's the thing that when we will have the shift in players. Like the old guard will go missing.
Yeah, and also shift in tournament organizer, because
sure.
as you
Same
said,
thing.
it's not sustainable as part time. It's never been as a job unless you are like Jeff Bailey with CEO. But it's not sustainable as a job. So.
Especially here.
Hobby, and most people are going to give up in the long run. And but they need to have find substitutes. It's going to be hard to find them because it's progressively harder because new people don't want to organize.
I just want to play.
5 and I just can't seem to say it, but. I was new in the fighting game community. I played Street Fighter 4 very badly, and my netcode wasn't great. But my internet connection in Liguria was, I don't want to say shitty, but it was even worse.
Let's go with shitty.
I had 2 mega until 2013, something like that. It was weirdly bad. I never played, and when I started playing Street Fighter 5, there were some tournaments, not so many, but there were. But people didn't like the game, and in Italy especially, everywhere, but especially.
I remember that.
And tournament organizer just gave up. They just gave up, and there was nobody else that they took their places, and the ones that did some nice tournaments. I mean, Pazzi did a nice tournament, but they weren't connected enough to the community, and they didn't go very well. We started going with locals in Milan. I tried to push. I pushed a lot, as you remember. I think about coming local. It worked out in the end, thanks to everybody. But even the community, we had to build a national community because there wasn't one, and that was a problem about not having anybody organizing anything until. I think it was 2019 that we made the Discord, the Italian Fighters Network Italia. There was one chat in WhatsApp and a couple of Telegram and private groups that organized stuff, but there wasn't anything else apart my games and Bert one, my GG and Bert, and your series. So the
Combo Republic.
Yeah, the Combo Republic tournaments. But there was, even before that, when I started doing the Good Games in Bert 1, the first 2 10s and exhibition matches, I was the only one doing stuff online. And nobody ever done anything on the game in Street Fighter 5 because there wasn't.
There wasn't interest in the game, and the people that organized Street Fighter 4 tournaments weren't interested in the game because they didn't like it, and that's what happened. Sometimes when you have so few community leaders in a place like Italy, for example, if they stop the games, the scene basically dies, right? And we took the baton and we went for it, and we're building something right now, so I'm happy for that. And I want to say that maybe it's not all that doom and gloom like we're making it sound right now. Probably the fighting game scene will evolve with the games in some way. I don't know. I wanna just hope for that. That in some ways that the whole shebang will just evolve with the games.
What have we seen? I mean, I'm not big into like first-person shooters, but we see an evolution from those games. I mean, they used to have like LAN parties.
Yeah,
right?
they did. I did some.
Right, and
Yeah,
right now I'm not seeing any of those. I mean, there's sometimes those big events like how is it called, the one in Norwegian, and there's big LAN parties events.
Yeah. There'll always be a shift, like evolving with technology and with how games develop in time, right? And we've seen also like a very very big shift in work. For our jobs, for example, I'm working after half of the time. I'm working from home right now, even though the COVID is gone. And if you told me 5 years ago, I would never think about this situation to be true, right?
Yeah.
So as something so serious like everyday job is coming to a different conclusion with technology, that probably will be the case even for fighting games, right? And for the fighting game community. What we're doing is building for both offline future and online future, and we'll see what happens from there. I think I don't want to be like too much down on the perspective of evolution of fighting games, right?
No, it's cool.
Something's gonna happen,
I think
and I think that it's not gonna die.
No, it's not going to die. But it's these weird things. It's this weird situation where you like fighting games, so you want them to get bigger.
Yeah, sure.
And you already know what they should do to make them go bigger, especially like esports bigger, in the competitive bigger. But you also know that that is not something you like. And I'm going to go to this because I want to talk about a bit more about the competitive aspect that's going to change thanks to the netcode.
Yeah.
I think they are going to move much more, especially like Street Fighter is going to do it, sure. But with time, even like Tekken and other games are going to shift to a more like qualification style of events, and then a big tournament offline, like they did the Street Fighter, exactly like they did this year. Because they can do it much more right now, and it's more suitable to them. It generates much more revenue, and it costs way less.
It also had one effect that I liked. It was the diversity of people going to Capcom Cup at the finals.
Yeah, that's also a thing. I mean, there's not going so much right after with the biggest like scenes, because it happened because they had like regionals.
Yes.
That's why Nico went. I'm not going to bash on Gico because he is a good player, but if you think about it. He had to fight like, I guess, Italian players, Swiss players, and Belgian players, but the best Belgian players already took another tournament. So he was like fighting Italian, Swiss, and I don't know, another like nation, but there wasn't even Germany. There wasn't any, like, it was Italy and Swiss. So it was when they announced the World Warrior series, I thought to myself, this year we're going to surely have an Italian competitor at Capcom.
Yeah, because of how the region were structured, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they have to maybe next time they will since the netcode will allow. They will allow it to do like bigger regions
from Europe, but it's going to be a whole Europe.
Yeah. You could definitely do it.
I don't know, but much bigger. And
maybe 2 zones for Europe.
yeah, the representation will be different. I think see much more stronger players at Capcom
Yeah,
Cup.
you will. It will look much more like previous years, right? But you still
What I wanna say
gonna
is
have a
that-
chance. You're still gonna have a chance.
Yeah, that's true. But I wanted to say this: this will be probably one of the main reasons where competitive players will miss big tournaments, big offline tournaments.
Yeah.
If you, I mean, we've seen it with Street Fighter 5. If a tournament didn't have the Capcom Pro Tour logo or a Capcom Pro Tour points
Yeah,
in
yeah.
it, most players
Yeah, players kept it.
go to that event. I mean, the best example for this is the American Frosty Fausting.
Yes.
Frosty Fausting is a tournament played in January in Illinois or February. I'm not.
Yeah, it's
something like
winter in Chicago. Yeah.
winter in Chicago, and it never. I mean, it was a big tournament, but Street Fighter always did very badly. Street Fighter 5.
Yeah,
did
5.
very badly.
Because
Did
it
very
was big
badly
with
in tournament.
most games and Street Fighter 4 in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, Tekken did well. Every other game did well.
Yeah, yeah.
But Street Fighter 5 didn't. And that was because the tournament was earlier than the start of the season. And so it didn't have any CPT event.
Yeah, yeah. It was
or
just because of the
conduct.
time frame. Yeah.
Yeah, the time frame wasn't okay for Capcom Tour events, so it didn't have the CPT logo on it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that did, like, when a player didn't want to do it, to go to that tournament. I mean, if they were around, they went. But I've never seen like IDOM at Frosty Fausting, or I've never seen like players not far from there going to Frosty Fausting. So hey, that's probably an indicator that really competitive players that want to like achieve the qualification for the big bucks, won't go to events if they don't have a chance to actually get something.
Yeah.
And
That, I want to say that we shall hope that Capcom will give a small chance to everybody, like to be involved in some way or form into the points, right? To the Capcom Cup points, even though it's like a small amount, maybe.
It's not going to be a point system. It's not going to be a point system. Even if some big tournaments are going to count, it's just winner.
Yeah, yeah, and that's unfortunate.
That's a shame, because if you are not good enough to win the tournament, but
Yeah, that's
you
unfortunate. I
can
want to say
prepare
that
for your
points is
workout.
better. I want to say that points give more player a chance.
Points
Because
is
high
much
placements
better.
are not.
Points is much better.
Yeah,
But-
high placement are not to be like scoffed at, because especially in tournaments that you have like very stacked tournaments with many strong players, it's very easy for a very strong player to not get in top 3, for example, but it's still placements. Like top 16 is still good placement in a tournament where there are like 100 nice players, right? So yeah, I'm with you with that. I prefer like the point system. I don't know how they were gonna
What I
do
want to
that.
say is that many players, and especially competitive players, missing big tournaments or open bracket
tournament. Yes.
will be bad, because it's a circle. If the big player misses, if the big player misses, a lot of people won't go to the tournament because they can't see big players, because a lot of people actually go to tournaments to actually interact with those.
Yeah, sure. That's right. That's obvious. That's obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to be a circle, and I think that's going to harm what we love so much. That's that is the open bracket system. I mean, I think the open bracket system is amazing and it gives you the opportunity to play with everybody.
Yeah, it's a
And-
very democratic system that
Yeah,
we
that's
as
true.
FFGC like grassroots maniacs love.
Exactly, but we also know that this system isn't compatible with the esports kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that's just because of time and also because of logistics, right? I want when the next Evo comes up and there will be like 10,000 players for Street Fighter 6. Man, I don't know how they're gonna do it, but yeah, but whatever.
I mean,
They're gonna find a way.
They already said that the final day won't have to pay it, but top
Yeah,
six,
that's one
And
thing they could do.
like I guess okay.
The problem is
And then-
how they're gonna get all the pools done in time if there are so many players. I think that there should be even if it's an open bracket. I think every big tournament has to have a player cap, just to like accommodate the logistics a bit more.
They actually like put a player cap. I remember Street Fighter 5 did close to 5,000 or something.
The
like
first
5,000
ever, the first ever for Street Fighter 5 had almost 6,000 players,
almost 6,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot,
and it was crazy.
it was crazy. And I think Street Fighter 6 can actually do. I'm not sure it can do more because
I think it will. I think it will.
as we already said, I think it will, but I'm not sure. Because,
Look, especially after the 2 million thing they announced,
yeah,
I think that there will
but
be a
still,
lot of
they will
players.
grant one tournament and they will grant one spot.
Yeah, sure.
But I think they're going to they said 2 millions for Capcom Cup, but they're still like they will put money on big events.
Yeah.
High school for a Evo is going to be like big, not only because of the number of players, but also for Capcom investing in it. But still, I think I'm not sure about the breaking record because it broke the record of Street Fighter 5 because there was a lot of players coming from the Street Fighter 4 era or even Street Fighter 3 that were still playing, that went to locals and then went to tournaments. But
And also the game was still very, very new. Evo was close to launch, so people didn't yet understand if they liked the game very much or not. And there was the first honeymoon period still. So
it's going to happen. I think I'm not sure about it because I can't recall. But it's going to happen. I think it happened. The same thing it happened to Strive last year.
Yeah. Of course, the first year is always that.
Player, something.
Yeah, it's always like that for the first year of game being at Evo. Yeah,
Strive had 3,000 player signed up, but I don't think anybody counted but there were like at least 500, but I would say more.
No shows.
No shows. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that could happen when you have so many people.
Completely, because most people subscribed, signed up for the tournament, then didn't like the game or too much.
Yeah, it can happen.
And didn't spend the money to go to Vegas because
sure.
Fucking Vegas is expensive.
Yeah, there are so many like factors that can change your mind about that. But what I want to say to close this up is just that we hope the future is still has the same hype that fighting games have had in the past in some way, shape or form. And also if we get famous and the Late Fight Show goes viral and we make a ton of money, we're gonna make an avenue here to make the biggest fucking tournament in the history. I don't know. I'm joking, of course, but that's actually a dream of mine. Like to open a fighting game bar, something like that.
Yeah, my fighting game bar is amazing.
Yeah, that's so
They
cool.
had it in actually had it in Barcelona.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
had
yeah.
it was very cool, but even in Barcelona, in Spain, which has a bigger scene in it than Italy, and it's much more affordable to actually rent.
Yeah, yeah. Can you imagine a place with a sign with like a light sign with late fight show on it?
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool.
That would be good.
That would be amazing. But we are
So
still in Italy. We have to deal with the fact that we are a little bit behind
yeah,
stuff. I was saying today in a different situation that Italy is weird. I'm just going to say that, and then we'll close this
yeah,
thing.
of
It's
course.
weird, especially my region, Liguria. It's a small region in Italy, but as the fifth biggest city in Italy, I think Genova,
Yeah, yeah.
fifth or sixth, I don't know. But in the whole region, there's not a single one. There's not a single land bar. There's not a single LAN.
Oh well, in my region it's the same. in my
Nothing
actual
video game.
in my actual region it's the same. Not here in Lombardia.
But your region is kind of smaller,
yeah, yes, sure.
and there's not big
There are
cities.
very few
like
people.
Genova is pretty huge.
Yeah,
Not
yeah, of
many
course.
one knows, but pretty huge. And there's not a single one. There's not a single gaming bar. I'm not saying gaming bar, but nothing.
Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, let's just finish saying that in Italy we have to deal with a lot of weird laws and restrictions. and let's leave it at that. So, for the final topic tonight, we want to do something like a little bit more easygoing, since this was a little heavy topic before.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, and then I want to ask also myself, what would be your imaginary dream fighting games made of pieces and bits of other fighting games, or even something new that you never seen before? And I want to see. So I want to know what kind of game, what kind of like subgenre of fighting game it is. What do you get from other games, and also if it's based on some intellectual property that you know, or it's just something new.
I understand what you mean. It's weird. I have different ideas, but my thing. I'll say one thing that's not possible, and I like to have a fighting game has the core game, the core values of fighting game. Like it plays like a fighting game. We already know.
Okay.
But is more appealing to people, to new players, and that's going to be hard because everybody still says that fighting games are not played too much by the mainstream because they are hard. It's hard to do moves and stuff like that.
But this is a fighting game for you. It's just for you.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I think that fighting games are not mainstream because they look so old. I mean, it's just two characters going at it, and that's it. And they feel old for newer players. But
yes,
that's just it. I think what I wanted is a fighting game that plays like usual, but feels modern, and that's going to be, I don't know how to explain it. So this is we take this and we put it on the side of the table.
Okay.
But apart from that, I loved a game, like kind of a Street Fighter game.
Okay, so grounded. Let's start saying grounded game. Yeah.
Yeah, not an anime game.
Okay.
I don't like anime game, but with much more focus on movement. It's weird.
Still 2D.
Yeah, still 2D, but much more focus on movement. And there's like stage stuff. I love to see like a fighting game, a 2D fighting games take an approach with stages. and not only platform games, but even like Street Fighter have like it's not a linear thing about stages, where you pick stage thanks to the character that does better there.
Yeah. Okay.
I love to do a fighting game that do that, and at least try to do something. But because my favorite, a little bit faster than like Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 6 as space goes on.
Okay.
Much more like Street Fighter 3 or even Alpha, which you don't have dashes, but the game is pretty fast.
Yes.
That's about it with the
base
system, the duty system.
The base system, yes.
Yeah, but the mechanics, I don't know. It's very hard because I love some mechanics, and they're kind of doing what I thought in Street Fighter 6. But it's going to be hard to balance what I love. I like parries. I like parries because they are high. I like the fact that they are hard to do in Third Strike, but not so hard, especially like normal parries.
Yes.
But I still would correct them in a way. I'd like a diverse roster, and you know what I would like? I don't know, even a team game, something like that. It's weird. It's really hard for me to
let me try to break it up for you. Yeah. So maybe it will be helpful. So you said that you wanted a grounded game, and that's okay. Street Fighter-y feeling game. Okay. Then you, as far as mechanics go, you have some ideas. So parry you like. Let me check. Like some combat mechanic, like super meter stuff.
I don't know, like supers like not ultra or V-triggers, much more like street. I know, so just supers.
Okay. Supers. You get the resource. You gain the resource by doing something good and not by getting hit. Okay, and you spend it because you earned it. Okay, that's nice. And you would like it to be like a complex game as far as universal mechanic goes, like Street Fighter 6, or a more simple one?
I would like it to be as simple to understand and
hard to master
with a progressive difficulty. Like if you really want to, like, it was kind of like that in Street Fighter 4.
Yeah,
but not so much. But where you can actually like the different route and have much more higher level. As your level goes up, you can do like much more difficult stuff.
Okay. So you'd want anyway a game that has some like execution. Yeah. Some level of execution.
It's not an execution barrier, much more like an execution like improvement that feels like
if you want to do like the very, very best combo you have, your very, very best conversion, you need to work for it. Okay. But maybe it's like a lot of work for that, like extra 5%, for example.
Yeah, I mean that's true, or even more. But that's it. That's it about the execution. And I'd like to go in hands with the knowledge checkers of the game. I don't want to have knowledge. I mean, we talk about Tekken a lot, and what I don't like about Tekken is that the knowledge checks are very easily like. They are.
You get knowledge checked from the beginning in that game. That's the problem.
Yeah. In that game, you have like knowledge checks from the beginning, and as you go higher levels, you have like lower checks.
Yeah, because people use like four moves and that's it.
Yeah, that's true. You have less, and that's weird.
But you want it to be like more like a.
Much higher you go.
Okay.
The thing is that the thing that's it, and yeah, in that department, I think Street Fighter 5 does it really well because the knowledge checks are still around when you're not that good.
But are not that's not that prevalent. Yeah.
The hardest the things are to know, but the small details will count much more, especially like you have to know when you start off, you just have to know like you have to punish that, and that's a knowledge check because if not the player
anti-air, the jump ins and stuff. Yes.
Dragon punch every time. So if you don't punish dragon punch, or you have to like check dashes when you go higher.
Yeah, and then there are different steps.
Check fake hockey when you go higher, or even if you go higher, you'll get to check fake strings. But and that's sort about it.
So if you wanna like use like the James Chen definition of fighting games, right? The mind game and the soul game. Like, what balance do you want for those two aspects? Like the very mind focused, like Street Fighter 5, very data driven game, or something in between, or something more like Street Fighter 2. That's
something in between, but more of a mind game.
Okay.
With what I would like is a game very focused on reactions.
So that's something in between, like Street Fighter 6, for example. It is in between. You got your frame data, which is important, but you have some some ways that you can play the game by feel in some situations with reactions and stuff like that, right? Okay.
Exactly, and and the roster, I don't know.
Oh, nice. I wanna know about like which characters do you want?
Yeah, it's hard because I do love some IPs, but I don't think they could well in the kind of fighting game I would love.
Okay.
Because I would love a fighting game about One Piece. I mean, I'm a fan, but One Piece won't fit very well in
not for a grounded fighting game.
not at all. But apart from that, I love like some medieval stuff,
like Soul Calibur stuff.
Yeah, like Soul Calibur, but more
or Grand Blue.
Or Ground Blue, yes, exactly, but with less, even less, like For Honor, as we say.
Very realistic, like medieval stuff.
Curated stuff.
Okay. Did you ever see the? Did you see that fencing fighting games that they were developing? A very hyper realistic like sword fighting game. Do you see that? I don't remember the name, but they were showing this fighting game, which was made by super experts in actual sword combat, and basically you had no life bar because if you got cut in the right place, you would just die, right? Yeah. So, and it was very 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 interesting because every character had a different sword and of course fighting style like connected to that kind of sword. So you had the sabers, you had this like the big like European broadswords and stuff like that, and you get the katanas and stuff. And I don't remember the name. It actually looks kind of cool. It's not the fighting game in the sense that we understand it, of course. It's more of a simulation. But but it is much more akin to fighting games than like simulation, like for example UFC games, because it has the same feeling of like footsies and spacing that our stuff has. So it's kind of an in-between, and I think you would like that.
Maybe, I don't know, but it's weird. I'd love to... I have this this passion for that period of time and history, and I would love to see a fighting game about it. If not, I think Street Fighter is my favorite character design, but
Okay, like style wise.
weird. I don't know about it. Even like it's weird. I'm a Capcom fanboy, so that's it.
So the name of the game is Hellish Court. Go and check that out because I think you will like it. Hellish Court.
What?
Yes. It's crazy.
It's actually has a good review, like 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it's very it's super realistic basically. The old people that made it had like studied actual sword fighting styles and made it like all get together in this game. it's kind of good actually. So
I'll try.
my fighting game, my weird fight. So I have two things in mind actually. I have two different fighting games in mind, and you'll be surprised that none of these two actually resembles Killer Instinct. No one, neither one of those, because I have an idea for a 2D fighting game that I really want to see, and another idea for a 3D fighting games, which is not 3D in the sense of Tekken, but it's more 3D in a sense of
Soul Calibur.
no, even more than that. More like Dark Souls
like
PvP.
Yeah, okay. It's
So very much 3D.
yeah.
And I have only a problem with that. So I'll start with that because it's easier to for me to wrap my head around because I don't have so many references, right? So the idea for the very 3D one, which is kind of like a more tight version as far as combat system goes of Dark Souls PvP, especially Dark Souls 2 and 3 PvP, which I liked, and but with characters, of not builds, right? So you have fixed characters like a fighting game, and maybe something that you can change, switch around, like as far maybe like some loadout or something like that. But the only thing that the difficult thing that for me a game such as this would have, as far as game design goes, is having a camera that allows for both 3D, very actual 3D movement like in those games, but also allows for gauging distance very well. Because that's the very difficult thing about those kind of games, is that because the concept of whiff punishing is actually in those games, right? But getting the spacing right is so difficult for an over-the-shoulder camera. That's the problem. That problem was very prevalent, for example, is in For Honor. The thing that didn't click for me in For Honor was that I was having difficulty like gauging the distance between me and my opponent. And in some games in the past that kind of did that, like Guides, which was bad as fuck, and also Power Stone, the Power Stone game, right, was kind of a 3D fighting game.
Yeah, don't recall that, but
go and see that because it's interesting.
Power Stone.
Yeah, Power Stone. I was actually probably made by Capcom or something. I don't actually remember who made that, but it was based on the.
Yeah, Capcom.
It was Capcom, right?
Capcom.
And that kind of camera that was 3D but was like kind of high up, almost isometric, made like gauging distance a little bit easier, right?
Yeah, they actually tried to do it. I was just saying this. They actually tried to do like a spin on fighting games with much more modern views, but it was 1999, so
yeah
it wasn't very.
Technology wasn't there.
I think it wasn't very well received.
Yeah, but I think there's room for that because the community for Souls games in PvP, especially before Elden Ring, was very very big and active, and the very issues, the big issues with that, it was balance, of course, because it wasn't thought to be balanced, and also the netcode wasn't good enough to play competitively. But the bases were there. And that's some way I want a fighting game to be made in the future. And the other one is more akin to our kind of fighting games. Listen up, this is different. It's a different thing. You might not expect in this from me. But let's talk about the bases. So the base game, I want it to be a mixture of Street Fighter feeling, okay. And I'd say in which way I want it to be Street Fighter-y. And another game which actually is one of my favorite as far as feeling and movement goes, but it's a game that I never been able to get into it so much because of the netcode and because of the community being very small here in Europe. And it's Under Night. So I love Under Night movement because Under Night is not an anime game. It looks like an anime game, but it is not an anime game because there are no air dashes and there is no air blocking, which I hate. I hate air blocking. I wanted to be able to anti-air my opponents. For God's sake, if I read the jump and I do a DP and I'm fast enough to do a DP, man, when they block a DP in Guilty Gear, I feel so bad. I feel so fucking bad.
You can't actually block DPs.
You couldn't?
Right.
Maybe in older Guilty Gears you could. Maybe in Strive you can. I don't remember.
Moves were coded like anti-airs, and you can't lock them.
Okay, but anyway, I hate in the concept of air blocking. I hate it. Because I want to when I see an opponent jump and I want to do a super move because I saw them jump, I want to be I got you. Yeah, I want to be like that and not feeling bad because they blocked. So that's one thing. But I like how they move in Under Night because there's a run, and I like the run as a concept. Fixed dashes sometimes feel a little bit restraining for me when I'm playing. I won't go as far as saying that I hate dashes, but I think something that you can maybe choose between a dash and a run could be maybe having them both could be a thing. And also I really like the hop that Under Night has.
KOF.
What? Yeah, it's much easier than KOF's, and that's way less strong than in KOF because in KOF it's lower and faster, but the hop in Under Night is kind of slow, but it has a nice angle for jumpings, and it's effective for its angle, not for its speed. But since it's very effective because it's lower to the ground and it's more difficult to react than a regular jump, it has actually scaling on combos.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a nice balance right there. What I don't okay. So what I want to be Street Fighter-y is actually more of the combo system. So I want links instead of chain combos.
Yeah, that's true. I hate chain combos too.
I don't hate them, but I feel that they feel kind of samey in the long run, right? I don't really hate them. I like in Strive, for example, that they limited a lot of the chains, which is something the older players hate actually. But I like the fact that there are fewer strings that you can do in Strive, and combos feels much more like a Street Fighter game in some instances. Like for example, many juggles are just one button into the special, and I like that. So I want a game that feels more like Street Fighter in that kind of sense, and also in the neutral, like sticking up buttons and stuff, right? I like the Street Fighter way of doing that. I like the link as a concept that you have to time the next attack very, very well to do so. But then, and hear me out, the mechanics. I want some mechanics that is both a combo extension, but also something that makes the game very free form when you go into the offense, like the Roman cancel in Strive. I really like the Roman cancel in Strive. How they made it.
That's the best part of the game.
Yeah, it creates a lot of situation that that you can basically invent from scratch sometimes. I make an example. If you Roman cancel a whiffed like I don't know what it's called, like the spinning move from Nago. The
Beyblade, they call
the
it.
Beyblade, yes, la trottola. If you do it in the first couple of frames, right, on whiff, you do it.
Yeah.
You start the move, and you do the Roman cancel. You get the momentum, and you get like a super dash. Right in the face of the opponent. So those kind of things I really like, and you can get creative with the game with that kind of canceling system, right? So that's what the Roman cancel actually I love, and I would like a game with that in. Then of course I want flashy super for the spectacle of it.
Yeah, kind of game.
I like the flexibility of having levels of super like Street Fighter 6. I like that very much. Because you don't feel like you have to spend you have the only one way to spend it, basically only one way, just to cash it out, or maybe to get an advantage at the start of the round or to close the round, but you have utility. Like I want also utility supers, which is very cool in Street Fighter 6. And I love the fact that in Street Fighter 6 the super meter is separated from the rest of like the systems.
That's kind of good. I'm not sure if that's the first game to do it, but
I really don't know.
That's a very good idea.
If you count ultras in 4, yes, it was separated, but there was a comeback mechanic. It was very different.
Yeah, no, I'm not counting that. I mean, as you said, the Roman Council is separate from the super meter, but still you don't have like EX moves and other stuff. So
I like the concept of EX moves. I like the concept.
I love the concept of EX moves, and I think Street Fighter 6 is the first game to actually separate.
Yeah, and I want to say that this game that I'm imagining is is Street Fighter 6 with another code of pain, right? But Street Fighter 6 is making many things right, in my opinion, many things that I like. But maybe and just maybe, in this like imaginary Franken-Game, I want something a little bit less complex, probably, as far as like number of mechanics, not just, but I want the same depth that Street Fighter 6 is like suggesting it as, but maybe with a little bit fewer mechanics. For example, I really don't like the system mechanics in Under Night. The Vorpal system I hate. You need so much mental power to get the Vorpal system right, and I don't like that. I really don't like. Maybe it becomes second nature when you play the game a lot, but it's not friendly at all.
The Street Fighter 6 system is that it adds a very tactical part to the game.
Yeah, the management. Yes,
you have to check your meter and your opponent meter, and you can interact with the meter of your opponent.
Yes, I like that. The meter management of Street Fighter 6 is very good. In general, I like meter management as a concept.
Yeah, because it's sort of like it also adds the guard gauge.
Sure.
They called it to the drive system, and you can interact directly. That's what I like about
you can reduce it.
It's something that you just have to check it. You can directly interact.
You can manipulate your opponent's gauge,
or like punch or stuff like that. And that's I found it very, very cool. There's going to be moments where you are going to do like the normal combo, to do so much damage, so much more damage, and there are going to be moments where you will get just a crouching heavy punch into drive impact, because that's the way of getting your opponent into burnout.
Yes.
And
Of course,
that's
there is a tactics like involved
Yeah.
in that. Before going into like setting and characters, I wanna close the mechanics with this thought, which is why I didn't put anything from Killer Instinct, which is my favorite game, inside this imaginary game, because any of the mechanics of Killer Instinct, like picked apart and placed in another fighting game, they don't work. For example, combo breakers don't work in any other game. The combo system doesn't work without combo breaks. So it's a very specific way of designing a game that don't mesh very well together with other stuff. And because for example, if you cannot put a Killer Instinct combo break in a different game, because every other games. No, it doesn't work, because every other game has very optimal routes. Exactly. Very optimal routes for every situation. Maybe they differ because sometimes you want sometimes you want positioning, sometimes you want damage, but the damage combo is that. In that situation, of course, not always, but the damage combo in that specific situation is always the best one, at least. You have the best positioning combo, the best Oki combo for every situation, so it would be too easy to read, right? So the combo system in Killer Instinct is so freeform that it allows for that kind of combo breaker, and that's just the way it is. But there is a combo breaker that I would like to get in this imaginary game, which is kind of a burst system, which is safe because you have interaction both ways, because you can read the burst, you can bait the burst, and you can also do burst safe combos sometimes in games that have that kind of combo breaker. So I like the thing that there's a mind game there, right? You can break out of a combo, but if your opponent is smart enough to read you, it's even worse. The situation is even worse. So I like that in a game. So that's basically mechanically what I would like to see. And so it's kind of a mixture of like the pace, speed, and movement of Uni, which is kind of like what you like a little bit faster than Street Fighter. Yeah. But with Street Fighter feeling in combos and the characters, right? The setting and the characters. This is my wet dream, but I don't know if this is gonna be ever be possible. But there are some some anime that I think that gel together well with this idea. And for example, I would be very happy to see a game based on My Hero Academia, for example. Mm-hmm. With this kind of system, with ArcSys style graphics, like anime, very anime faithful, right? Graphics.
Still a bit behind on My Hero Academia. I'm just at chapter.
I like because the characters are so creative, right? Are so different from one another. The powers are so creative. And that would make for a very special fighting game, in my opinion. And it's also something that could be possible given the popularity of the IP and ArcSys and how ArcSys is working, right? And the other one, the other one which is very much impossible, would be like a Shonen Jump mishmash. But that would be a game in which it's very difficult to be a one-on-one. It's very difficult to be to do a one-on-one game when you have so many characters to pull from, right? So you kind of feel bad to have to choose just one in this kind of games. So probably a 2v2 could be interesting in that kind of settings. Maybe a game that you can choose to go one-on-one.
What about an arena fighter like Tenkaichi?
I don't like that.
And like kind of like Jump Force, but balanced and much more focused on like as you were saying, that kind of game is different. It's hard to like get the distances and stuff like that.
That would fall pretty much in the category of the first game that I mentioned.
Okay.
So just with a different feel, like an anime feel. The thing is, in those games specifically, and I really don't like the way they play, because there's you have not that much control over what the character does, right?
Yeah.
There is many. It looks more like an action game converted into an arena fighters, because you get maybe when you press a button in those games, if you have at a set distance from your opponent, your character will like go onto the opponent and do the move. The concept of spacing there is not just only about the camera, but also the system doesn't allow to like play that kind of game of spacing, in my opinion. It could be done in a different way, of course. If you get a power stone with jump all stars characters, you probably get a good game, right? And but I would like to see imagine Dragon Ball Fighters, right? Mm-hmm. But with other IPs, which are not Dragon Ball. Because
that would be cool. I think I don't really understand why didn't do it.
Yeah, there are some IP that are so popular.
One Piece, for example.
That would be great.
They haven't even tried.
I think that One Piece is great for that. I think that Bleach is great for that. I think that Naruto also, because Naruto has all those arena fighters which suck, in my opinion. They are really bad.
I mean,
for
One Piece too. One Piece.
Yeah, and they have a following, but in my opinion, they suck. But imagine also a Naruto fighting game made in the vein of Dragon Ball Fighters. It could be very nice. The thing is, and there are also older IPs that I really would like to see. For example, in my imaginary game, which is a one-on-one. In my imaginary game, which is a one-on-one, I would like to see also some more niche anime characters that are very grounded as fighting style. For example, like Tenjo Tenge characters. I don't know the English name of Tenjo Tenge. Inferno e Paradiso, basically. I don't know how it's called in English. The original title is Tenjo Tenge, and I would like to see. I don't know if you ever read Shamo. Shamo, it's a manga based on a real character, a real story of a child that like murdered his parents and went. Yes, it's very heavy, and went into like juvenile prison and learned karate in there from a master, and went on to be like one of the most infamous karate practitioners in Japan because he was very violent and stuff. But there are some also the other one is Tough. Tough is another manga about martial arts, very very grounded martial arts. There are so many nice characters in them, and I would like to see like a mix match of these characters from different animes. Because these anime, these mangas are popular, but not as popular as some of the biggest like shonen IPs.
Shonen Jumps and stuff like not even just
even though in the Jump comics there are some very nice anime that could be very well like put together in a fighting game like that. I said that.
That's true.
Bleach is alright. Bleach has a lot of characters they could bring up.
I don't know what I could add about this, but a thing is a fighting game, a perfect fighting game. I don't know. It wouldn't exist. It would be a favorite of yours. I just say this because we have used to discuss the games, and we can see that.
I think I lost your audio. I can't hear you anymore. I don't know if your mic just went out. I lost you. Let's see if we can get you back.
We back?
Yeah, you're back.
I don't know what happened, but it's fine.
Don't worry.
My PC is kind of weird. My notebook. But as I was saying, you will never be able.
No, again, it went out again. We have some issues. I maybe you don't hear me anymore. let me just type. Yeah, audio's gone again. What's a live podcast if you don't have any issues? You will have issues. always. I don't know if we can get Bert back into the podcast. But in the meanwhile, I will just say that I will probably say what Bert was going to say, which is that doesn't exist any like perfect fighting game, right? Even our fantasy fighting game, our fantasy Franken-Fighting Game does not exist. It's not possible having a perfect fighting game. But for me, the perfect fighting game is having a lot of nice fighting game to play, and that's what's gonna happen in the near future. We will have a fighting game, different fighting game for everyone. I think I hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I just put another thing. Yeah, I agree with you. As you were saying, there's no perfect. That just the thing you like more. And we like so much different stuff sometimes that it's going to be hard. I mean, yeah, it's especially rooted in the first fighting game you played. I'm not gonna say competitively, but the first fighting game you played
seriously.
Understanding the mechanics, how the game plays at a much higher level.
Yes.
That's when your first game. That's going to affect your view about fighting.
Yes, absolutely. And that for me was actually Killer Instinct 2013, because that's the first game in which I really studied and I really want to get good, and then by reflex. Probably Street Fighter 4 came before that, but I didn't really understand the game. And when I went back to Street Fighter 4 after getting good at Killer Instinct, I understood it. So that's why that's my go-to game when I make my cases for what I like about fighting games. But as I was saying, my actual fantasy game is different, and I think that anyhow we're gonna get our fix no matter what, because we will get a lot of great fighting games in the near future, and
absolutely. That's a bright future for players, and maybe not so much for locals and tournament organizers.
We're gonna see,
but we will see.
We're gonna see. And on that positive note, let's end this. So, people, thank you very much for listening. Please follow us on Spotify. Maybe if you gentle enough, you can leave a comment or even a review on it. It will help us a great deal, to being finded more on the platform. So thank you very much again for everything, for your support, and we'll see you in the next episode. And from the Late Fight Show crew,
it's good night. Game over.
Good night, everybody. Sta con un secondo veloce, arrivo.
1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the world of fighting games, conversation, freestyle talk to people across the nation. We speak harder, then I show you under the jaw. So sneakier, then an empty jump low. We sound crazier, then I fall it's hot recondo. Ladies and gents, welcome to the Late Fight Show.